Ever just stared at one of those Duolingo read and complete tasks?
Oh, yeah.
You know the ones where you're just typing like mad, trying to guess the letters, and suddenly, boom, 3 minutes are gone, and you're left thinking, what even happened there?
It happens.
Well, today on the deep dive, we're going to cut through all that noise. We've really dug into some strategic advice, pulled back the curtain on this specific challenge.
Yeah, we looked at how it actually works.
And we're ready to give you a clear roadmap, something actionable. Because look, this isn't just, filling in blanks.
Not at all.
It's about understanding how language itself works on a pretty fundamental level, actually.
And how you can use that understanding to, well, do better.
Exactly. So let's nail down what this task is. The read and complete on Duolingo. I mean, on the surface, it seems simple enough, right?
It looks straightforward. You get a paragraph. Some words have missing letters.
And you type them in. Job done.
Pretty much. That's the basic idea.
Practically speaking, though, you're usually on the clock. About 3 minutes.
Yeah, typically around 3 minutes. And you'll probably face, maybe 10 to 15 words you need to complete in that time.
Okay. And just to make it super clear, like an example might be saying, my holiday in Cuba was very exciting.
Right. And you'd need to fill that in to make it, my holiday in Cuba was very exciting. Completing holiday and exciting.
Got it. Simple enough concept. But you mentioned something interesting earlier. It adapts.
Yeah, that's a key thing. It's not just one static difficulty. There are actually 3 levels.
3 levels, okay.
And as you move up, the difficulty ramps up. Often, it's through trickier vocabulary.
Oh, so.
Well, especially through using suffixes, those little endings like ing, yell. They change the word's function or meaning slightly.
Ah, okay, so it gets more complex than just basic spelling.
Definitely.
So, all right, if we're trying to avoid just blindly guessing letters, where do we even start? What's the very, very first thing you should do when that paragraph pops up? Before you even think about typing a single letter.
Okay, this is crucial. And honestly, it's something people often skip in the rush.
Yeah.
Always read the entire passage first. The whole thing.
The whole thing, before touching any blank.
Before touching any blanks. Just read it through.
Why is that so important?
Because it gives you context. You start to understand what the paragraph is actually about.
Okay.
You can use clues from the other sentences you know.
Yeah.
You grasp the topic, and importantly, you tap into your own background knowledge.
Background knowledge, like what I already know about, say, Cuba, if that's the topic.
Exactly, or whatever the topic is.
Right.
Your brain kind of activates what it already knows, helps you make much more educated guesses later on.
Right, so you're not just staring at isolated words with missing letters.
Precisely. You have a framework. It gives you a really solid foundation before you get kind of bogged down in the spelling details.
Okay, so read the whole passage, get the big picture context, make sense. What's the next layer then? What's the sort of core linguistic skill we need here? You mentioned it's more than just spelling.
This is where it gets really interesting based on what we looked at. The key, like the absolute key to cracking this task, is knowing your parts of speech.
The parts of speech, like nouns, verbs, adjectives.
Exactly that. Nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, prepositions, pronouns. All of them. This insight came up again and again. It's fundamental.
Huh. Why is that so powerful here?
Because it tells you what kind of word should fit in that blank. Think of it like knowing the job description for the missing word.
Okay, I like that analogy. Job description.
Yeah. So if you look at the blanks, the smaller words, the little ones, they're often things like articles a and the.
Right.
Or prepositions like in, on, at, with. Pronouns he, she, it, they. Conjunctions like and, but, or. Even sometimes interjections.
Interjections, like wow.
Yeah, which might mean you need that exclamation mark too sometimes.
Okay. And the bigger words?
The bigger, longer words with more missing letters, those are much more likely to be your adverbs, verbs, adjectives, or nouns.
So just knowing if it's likely a small function word or a bigger content word is a huge clue itself.
A massive clue. It narrows down the possibilities immensely before you even think about specific letters.
That really connects back to what you said about the difficulty levels and suffixes too, then.
It does, absolutely. Because levels 2 and 3, they specifically test those more difficult word forms.
By adding suffixes.
Exactly. By adding suffixes to base words to create, say, an adjective from a noun or an adverb from an adjective, it tests if you know how those forms work grammatically.
Can you give another example of that, like the harder level?
Sure. You might see something like mare. Man think that S is suit F this J.
Okay, lots of blanks there.
Right. And the completed sentence should be, Many people think that she is suitable for this job.
Ah, suitable. There's that suffix "evable" turning suit into an adjective.
Precisely. And knowing you need an adjective there after is helps you figure out suitable. You also need the pronoun she and the preposition for. It all connects.
So parts of speech are huge. What else? Is there structure involved too?
Yes, definitely. Beyond individual words, understanding basic sentence structure or syntax is also really helpful, especially the common English pattern, subject plus verb plus object, SVO.
SVO. Right. How does knowing that help here?
Well, it gives you predictive power. You know roughly where certain types of words should appear in a typical sentence.
Right.
Like with pronouns, for instance. This came up in one of the examples we saw. An object pronoun like him, her, us, them, it has to come after the verb or after a preposition.
Okay.
So you wouldn't say, I worked with he.
Yeah.
Right. It sounds wrong, and it is wrong grammatically.
Yeah, it definitely sounds
The
right.
example was something like, I work with H.
Okay.
It has to be completed as, I worked with him, because him is the object pronoun, correctly placed after the preposition with.
Whereas he is a subject pronoun, like he worked.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He does the action, him receives it, or is the object of a preposition. Knowing that SVO structure and the role of subject versus object pronouns stops you from making that kind of mistake.
That's a really clear grammatical point. Which brings up a question for me. When you're being scored, is it just about getting the spelling right? Or does that grammar and context stuff actually count?
Oh, it absolutely counts. It's not just spelling.
Really?
Yes. To get the maximum points, you need both things to be right. The word has to fit the context, the meaning of the sentence, and it has to be grammatically correct.
Ah, okay. So you could spell a word perfectly, but if it's the wrong type of word for that slot.
You won't get full credit. They have to work together. The meaning and the grammar both need to be spot on.
That makes sense. It's assessing language understanding, not just dictionary skills.
Precisely.
Okay, so we have all this great strategic knowledge now. Read first, understand parts of speech, use SVO, know context and grammar both matter. How do we put this into action? Like, what's the practical, step-by-step way to actually do the task efficiently in those 3 minutes?
Right, the actual execution. The recommended strategy is quite systematic.
Yeah.
Read through the text sentence by sentence. Don't try to do the whole paragraph at once after the initial read-through.
Sentence by sentence. Got it.
And here's a tactical bit. Within each sentence, tackle all the smaller words first.
The articles, prepositions, pronouns.
Exactly. Fill those in first for that sentence. They're often easier
Right.
and help confirm the structure.
Okay.
Then, once the small words are in place for that sentence, go back and complete the longer words, the nouns, verbs, adjectives, in that same sentence.
Ah, interesting. Small then large within the same sentence.
Yes, and only when you've completed all the blanks in one sentence, then you move on to the next sentence and repeat the process. Small words first, then larger words.
Why that order? Small then large.
It seems to build confidence and accuracy. The small words often lock in the grammatical structure, making the larger content words easier to guess correctly because the surrounding context is clearer.
That makes a lot of sense. You're kind of building the scaffold first, then filling in the main parts.
That's a great way to put it, building the scaffold.
Okay, fantastic. So let's just quickly recap the absolute essentials for you, the listener, when you face this reading complete challenge. First, big picture. Read the whole passage. Get that context before you do anything else. Don't just dive into the blanks.
Crucial first step.
Then really lean into the power of parts of speech. Knowing if you need a noun, verb, adjective, or one of those smaller words is like a superpower here.
It really guides your choices.
Leverage that basic English structure, SVO, especially when you're dealing with tricky things like pronouns.
Subject, verb, object. Keep it in mind.
And finally, use that systematic approach. Sentence by sentence. Within each sentence, nail the small words first, then the big ones.
Small, then large. It's an efficient flow.
It feels like a really solid plan.
And, thinking about it, these strategies, they're not just tricks for passing a Duolingo task. No, they're kind of a mini masterclass in how language actually works. Understanding this stuff, the parts of speech, sentence structure, context,
Yeah.
it can seriously boost how you understand anything you read or hear, not just on a language app, but, in general. It's like seeing the underlying architecture of the language.
Seeing the architecture of language. I like that. It's a powerful way to think about it. And it does make you wonder, doesn't it? If these very specific strategies work so well for decoding a test passage, could you apply that same kind of language architecture thinking more broadly?
How do you mean?
Well, how might recognizing parts of speech or common sentence patterns, or just focusing on context first.
Right.
How might that help you get through, say, a dense report for work faster, or understand a complex news article more thoroughly, or even just follow a nuanced conversation better in your daily life?
That's a really interesting thought. Applying linguistic awareness beyond just learning the language itself.
Yeah. Maybe something for you to mull over until our next deep dive.